Welcome, everyone. I'm just letting a few more people join our webinar and we'll get going. Okay, welcome, everyone, and thank you for being here today. This is the Women in Law Enforcement Virtual Recruitment webinar, where we'll talk all about being a female in law enforcement in the Department of Public Safety and where you'll find this is something that you can do. I am your host this morning. My name is Diane Warwick, and I'm the Peace Officer Applicant Coordinator for the Department of Public Safety. Along with me today are 5 panelists, all peace officers with DPS, who will be presenting you with information relevant to being a female law enforcement officer with DPS and will hopefully answer some of the questions you may have. We're all really happy to have you for the hour-and-a-half webinar today. And to give us a better sense of who's out there and where you're from, I'm going to launch my first poll to find that out. Let me see if I can get this poll going. All right. This poll should come across your screen, and it says, what part of Iowa do you live closest to? Of course, I couldn't put all the cities in the state of Iowa, but just pick the area that's closest to you. They're coming in. I'm seeing a lot of movement. Got a few more seconds, and we'll close the poll. Just a couple more. All right, I'm going to go ahead and end the polling. And I'm going to share the results with you. This is pretty interesting. It looks like a lot of people here are from the Cedar Rapids, Iowa City area. So welcome everyone. We have the next, I would say, probably is around Ames, Story City, and then Des Moines with Spirit Lake, Spencer, Mason City, a few up there. So thank you. All right, so I'm going to end this poll. And I have one more for you. We were also wondering how you found out about today's webinar. So let me find that poll for you. And hang on just a second. How did you hear about this webinar? There's a lot of different places that we put the advertising out, and so we're just trying to see for helping us to promote future webinars, how you heard about this webinar today. Let's see what's coming in. All right. We're almost done. All right, couple more, and we're going to close the poll. All right, I'm going to end the polling. And here are the results. It looks like Facebook is the #1 where we heard about this webinar, and probably from a DPS employee might be #2. Well, anyway, thank you so much for taking part in these 2 polls. We're going to move right along now to today's agenda. Let's go through these together quickly. The first topic is called Career Tracks and Ladder Rungs. This is where we're going to touch on specialty assignments and promotional opportunities with the Department of Public Safety. The second one is More Than Meets the Eye. And here we're going to talk about the investigative side of the Department of Public Safety. That would be the Division of Criminal Investigation, the Division of Narcotics Enforcement, the State Fire Marshal's Office, and Intelligence and Fusion. Our third topic is going to be called We Are Family, and you'll hear about balance and cohesion between a law enforcement career and your home life. The fourth one is called Underestimate Me. That'll be fun. And this one will show you how you can prepare yourself for the streets and have that mental and physical toughness that you'll need. And then the last one is called A Powerful Force. And that is going to offer a female perspective of the DPS Academy that all of our peace officers will need to graduate from. Then we'll have a quick wrap up and we'll be done for the day. A few housekeeping items before we start. You will not need your microphone or your camera today. They've been disabled. You will be in listen and view only mode. The main way to communicate with us today will be through the Q&A at the bottom in the toolbar at the bottom of your screen. So please feel free to ask a question right when you think of it, and we'll do our very best to answer all the questions before the webinar is over. And just to let you know, we've kept our webinar very private today, so no other attendee will be able to see your name or your questions. Just myself and the panelists. All right, we're going to move along. Our first presenter today is Trooper Joanna Coleman. Trooper Coleman began her career in law enforcement in 2010 with the Dyersville Police Department. She was hired in 2013 as a Trooper 1 with the Iowa State Patrol. Trooper Coleman was promoted to a Trooper 2 on the Governor's Executive Protection Unit and remained on that detail for 3.5 years. She is currently serving as a Trooper 2 in District 10, Oelwein. Joanna? Hi, Joanna. She's getting her presentation ready, and her microphone needs to come on. Some of these are kind of difficult. I think this is our first time trying to do this. There you go. She's going to talk about career tracks and ladder rungs. All right, Joanna.
All right. Hi, everyone. As Diane said, my name is Joanna. Thank you so much for joining in with us today. I'm going to talk about career tracks and ladder rungs. I'm currently a technical collision investigator. I'm on a crisis negotiation team. I'm also on the peer support team. So those are a few of my specialties right now. I'm going to try to talk about a lot of them. Here we go. I found this quote from Thomas Jefferson very important. So as a law enforcement officer, especially as a female, I find the harder I work, the more luck I seem to have. So nothing comes easy. I think that goes for any career, but you got to get out here and do your best and really work hard, and good things will certainly come your way. Here's a good picture of our air wing. And the new cars that are getting rolled out and have been getting rolled out. I'm sure some of you have seen these beautiful dark cars on the highways. Here's a picture collage of some of the things that I've been involved in my career. In the upper left, that's my current district up in District 10. We are supporting a fellow trooper who had an unfortunate accident, but he's doing really well and recovering really well, and we're very excited about that. In the lower left-hand corner, you can see a picture. That's the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier. Like Diane said, I was on the governor's detail. It was the best experience of my life. Prior to coming to the State Patrol, I didn't even know that the governor's detail was an option. I didn't know that we even did that. So that was pretty cool. To explain that a little further, the Governor's Protection Unit, or Executive Protection Unit, we're assigned to the governor and the first family. We provide protection for them. I got to see a lot of really cool things. The picture of Air Force One was on an assignment with the governor. In the upper right-hand screen, I was assigned to the governor of Montana, and on the detail, it's a running joke. You try not to get any pictures in the press. Unfortunately, I wasn't very good at ignoring the cameras that day, so there I am with the governor of Montana. And then the middle pictures are of my nieces. I went and visited them in school. So, and below bottom right corner, that's a picture of me and Governor Branstad. I started the detail with Governor Branstad and finished my time with Governor Reynolds. Here are a list of some of the specialties that are available in the State Patrol. I'm sure I'm probably missing a couple, but let's go through these. Like I said, I'm a TI. TIs investigate serious injury or fatality crashes. There are 8 reconstructionists currently in the state. Those reconstructionists really focus on reconstructing a fatality crash. They are very good at what they do, and we utilize them. I'm very fortunate we have one in my district. the TAC team. There's 4 area TAC teams in the state. I'm not on the TAC team, but they are very good at what they do. If that is something you have interest in, we do not have any females currently on the TAC team. So if some of you would love to do that someday, start training, start working hard. I would love to see a female meet those standards and be on the TAC team at some point. Crisis negotiator. Pretty new to the crisis negotiator team. I've had a couple call outs, fortunately, so far. Great opportunity, great experience. I have learned a lot just in my short time on the team. Drug recognition experts. Those focus on impaired driving. We recently got canines. We've had canines, but now we're going to dual purpose canines. There are 2, I believe, working in the state right now. We have set for 4 coming, spread throughout the state, and we're hoping to expand that program moving forward. MixApp deals specifically with commercial motor vehicles. Honor Guard, a time-honored tradition in the state patrol. They come out for law enforcement funerals, retired trooper funerals, and really formal ceremonies. And it's a big deal to be on the Honor Guard. Executive Protection Unit, that's the unit that I was in. Again, you're assigned directly to the governor. Post 16 has bike patrol. That's specifically towards Post 16. That's something you can do when the weather's nice. Trooper pilot, we have aircrafts all across the state. So if you want to fly an airplane, you could be a trooper pilot. Firearms instructors, driving instructors. Really in the state patrol, you can be an instructor in almost anything. So you can be an expert in those fields in a lot of things, basically almost in any of these things that I've listed here today. Defensive tactics, ASP, OC. I'm on the peer support team. This is a new thing for the State Patrol and for the Department of Public Safety. It is invaluable. People's and officers' mental health. We've really been making a priority on that. And so the peer support team has been a great resource for the DPS employees, but also officers and deputies and people outside of the department. We have public resource officers, PROs in each district. They go out and do school programs and really interact firsthand with the media. So how do you choose a career track? How do you get involved in some of these things? You really have to ask yourself, what are my strengths and what are my weaknesses? So I'm a crisis negotiator, I'm a TI, and I'm on the peer support team. Why am I on those things? Because I'm a really good talker. My communication skills are probably one of my strengths, if not my biggest strength. For me personally, my weakness, the TAC team, I love those guys. They are so good at what they do. That's just not something that's in my wheelhouse. So you need to ask yourself those hard questions. And you don't need to figure that out right now, but be thinking of your long-term goals. Figure out what you want to do with your career 10 years from now, 15 years from now. Start thinking about those things. Look at the big picture. So if we're hiring, when I got hired, Post 16 was the only option. I knew that I wanted to be a member of the Department of Public Safety. So I left, I was prior certified with the city of Dyersville. Very, very thankful for my time with them. I learned a lot. I think it made me a better officer. I packed up and moved to Des Moines. Was that a big deal? Yeah, it was, but it was a big risk, but it certainly paid off. So start thinking about that. It is a big picture here. Just because you move somewhere doesn't mean that you're going to stay there. You can lateral transfer. I lateral transferred back to my home area, and I love it up there now. I also did love Des Moines. I would just like to say that too. So, like I said, how do you choose? Here's a couple pictures again. The cool one up there with the TAC team, that's a picture from, I believe, last summer with the riots and stuff. So you can see all the gear and stuff that they were issued. That bottom left-hand corner, that's my issued vehicle. Great thing about the State Patrol is they give you all the tools and equipment necessary to do the job. So that's my car. I'm pretty partial to it. I think it's pretty cool. In the upper right-hand corner, that's another picture of one of our marked units. That's us working I believe it was a hit and run crash. That bottom right-hand picture, I'm in the middle, wearing my blue City of Dyersville uniform. The 2 individuals next to me, those are my sisters. That's why I became a cop. I did a ride along with their agency. Their police both of them were police officers at the time in Virginia. and I knew I was hooked. This job is so fun. It is so rewarding, and you get to see so many things and be involved and really make a difference in people's everyday lives. Even if it's just a short opportunity on a traffic stop, you get to have an impact in those people's lives. That's me in a picture with Kirk Ferentz, lead coach for the Iowa Hawkeyes. I was fortunate enough on the governor's detail to get to meet and see and do a lot of really cool things. The bottom one is Travis Mills. He is one of three, I believe, quadriplegics, no, quadruple amputees. My correction, sorry. And now he has a Travis Mills Foundation on the East Coast. Motivational speaker, awesome person. So, what do you need to do to succeed? I think it goes without saying you need to work hard. Integrity. If you don't have integrity, you really have nothing in this career. You need to maintain professionalism, be courteous, and also have really thick skin. Especially as a female in law enforcement, people say some crazy things throughout the day on random stops or just in general. You just got to be able to take it and move on throughout your day. That has nothing necessarily to do with the female, because male officers also have to experience that. But there are certain things that get said to females that you just kind of have to take and move on. Representing yourself on personal time. So a big deal with the State Patrol and the Department of Public Safety is you are representing our agency at all times, even if you're not working. So you need to maintain that professionalism and represent the State Patrol and the DPS in a positive light at all times. Another thing that the State Patrol is very big on, as well as the DPS, is chain of command. We have that in place, a rank structure in place for a reason. At the district level, I report to my team sergeant or any sergeant working, and they report to the lieutenant, and it goes up from there. As far as the promotional process, I'm going to touch very briefly on this just because I think initially you just need to work really hard at being a really good trooper or agent first. But to promote, there's a written exam for sergeant, lieutenant. To go from trooper 1 to trooper 2, there's an oral board process, and you sit in front of a captain or lieutenant, multiple captains and lieutenants, and do an oral board interview with them to move on. That's also the case with specialties. I've sat in front of an oral board for my crisis negotiator, and it was very important. They need to make sure that you're the right person for the job. And that's all I got, Diane.
Okay, great. I'm going to go ahead and get my video going here. I'm sorry. Here I am. Okay, hopefully you can see my screen. Thank you so much, Joanna. It's great to know that the DPS offers so many opportunities to serve the citizens of Iowa. Speaking of serving the public, I'm wondering how long all of you have been interested in a career in law enforcement. There's a lot of different people at a lot of different stages. I'm going to go ahead and ask you that. How long have you been interested in a career in law enforcement? Let's see. Some people might just be starting their search. Some people are already a law enforcement officer. Just go ahead and complete that, and I'm going to watch as it comes. All the tallies come in. Perfect. Got a couple more minutes, and we're going to move on. All right, I'm going to go ahead and end the polling. Look at this. This is awesome. It looks like a lot of you have been looking at a career in law enforcement for 1 to 5 years. That's great. I'm thinking that you're maybe considering the Department of Public Safety, and that is wonderful. There's a lot of opportunities here for females in law enforcement. Some people are already a law enforcement officer, maybe checking us out, seeing if there's some insights that they can help their career, and some people just starting to look. So that's great. I'm going to stop sharing that. And we are going to move on to our next presenter. Our next presenter is Special Agent Heather Dino. Agent Dino began her career with the Department of Public Safety as a non-sworn, meaning a civilian, employee, assisting with the CALIA accreditation process. In 2007, she graduated from the DPS Academy and began her assignment with the Division of Criminal Investigation. Agent Dino is currently assigned to the Special Enforcement Operations Bureau in the Central Iowa Gaming Unit with DCI. In this role, she's responsible for conducting criminal and administrative investigations and providing regulatory support at state licensed casinos throughout Iowa concerning casino gambling, sports wagering, and fantasy sports contests. Agent Dino has served as a field training officer, a certified handcuffing and ASP baton instructor, and currently serves on the DPS Women's Leadership and Mentoring Committee. She holds a Bachelor of Arts degree in Political Science from the Iowa State University. Heather? She'll be coming up. There she is. All right. More than meets the eye. Go ahead, Heather.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much for joining us. It's a strange time that we're all in, so it's really interesting to be able to connect with people in new and unique ways. I've not yet been a part of something like this, so it's really exciting that we're all getting to meet in kind of this virtual way today. We're going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to talk about the investigative divisions within the Department of Public Safety. So one thing that is not commonly known about the department is there are a variety of other investigative roles you can become a part of once you get into the Department of Public Safety. There's oftentimes confusion about what our roles and responsibilities are, but we are sworn police officers, just like the members of the Iowa State Patrol, with the same types of authority that they also have. So the investigative divisions within the Department of Public Safety, or the divisions that house sworn officers or police officers, are the Division of Intelligence, the State Fire Marshal's Office, the Division of Narcotics Enforcement, and the Division of Criminal Investigation, which is the unit or the bureau that I work for. We also have fire inspectors that are assigned to the State Fire Marshal's Office that are sworn police officers as well. So how do you become a special agent? Well, traditionally, you're hired through the State Patrol because those are the people that we have coming in through the academy. So unique to the Department of Public Safety is you are hired and then immediately sent to an academy before you are sent to the field. Other jurisdictions, that's a little different. You might serve in a sworn capacity prior to graduation, or you might serve in a field training or work for a little while before you attend an academy. To be an agent with the Department of Public Safety, you must be 22 years old and have a variety of experience levels that I have listed on that slide. I had no prior knowledge about the firefighting experience that can qualify you to be a member of the State Fire Marshal's Office. That was something that I actually learned putting this presentation together because of their unique skill set and what they focus on. That's something that they will take as prior experience. So if you come into the department as a member of the State Patrol, you serve a year, you're 22 years old, and you have all of these different, one of these different segments of experience or education, you can apply to be an agent with the various investigative divisions. So we're going to start off with the Division of Narcotics Enforcement. I am not going to claim to be an expert in areas which I have not served. I have served my career in the Special Enforcement Operations Bureau of the Division of Criminal Investigation. So one of the things that I did is I reached out to agents across the state and inspectors across the state and asked them, what's your caseload look like? What are you currently working on? And what do you do every day? Because they really are the experts in the areas that they work. So our state narcotics division is pretty self-explanatory. Their responsibilities are aimed at stopping distribution, manufacturing, and abuse of illegal narcotics. I talked to an agent the other day that is in that unit, and he described his current caseload as the disruption of mid to upper level meth and heroin distribution in his area of coverage, which is kind of like the North Iowa area. He went into this description about why it's distribution and not manufacturing right now, which just told me really how specialized in how much experience they have in these areas. So I have notes here. That's why I keep looking down. So the State Fire Marshal's Office, this is the division that I had the least information about when I started with the Department of Public Safety. But there's some of the most specialized agents that we have. There's 2 bureaus within the Fire Marshal's Office, the Arson and Explosives Bureau. The agents assigned to this bureau are oftentimes cross-trained as arson investigators and also bomb techs. And historically, we've had canines assigned to this unit as well. So these are state police officers that investigate arsons around the state and assist state and local partners with fire scenes. And they're also bomb techs. And some of them occasionally will also have a canine assigned to work with them. The agent that I spoke with and part of this division said that he is currently working in arson at a residential property that resulted in property damage. He's also working in arson at an apartment complex that resulted in property damage. He said this was unique. He's working a combine fire, that is very Iowa. That was accidental, but he was asked to determine the cause of that fire. He's also working an accidental fire resulting in the injury of firefighters. He is currently working on his prerequisites for hazardous device school. So he is going to attend a essentially bomb tech school in Huntsville, Alabama for 6 weeks. So he's doing all the prerequisites that are required for that school. He also noted that one of his responsibilities is making contacts with local and state and county partners, both in police and fire, to let them know what sort of resources are available to their organization from the State Fire Marshal's Office. We also have a fire prevention bureau. So these are fire inspectors who are responsible for a variety of different functions and inspection of a variety of different types of facilities around the state of Iowa. They're very preventative in nature. Their goal is to make sure that buildings are compliant with fire code in an effort to minimize injuries or fatalities if those buildings were to sustain fires. The inspector that I talked to in this unit described her activity as a mix of federal and school level inspections. She also noted that at any moment there might be a complaint that comes in and those complaints are prioritized, and she then kind of has to shift her focus to deal with that. So they have a very fluid schedule and are responsible for making sure that buildings are up to fire code, both state and federal fire code. So the Division of Intelligence, really an interesting unit. Our agents that are in the DOI, they don't have necessarily an investigative function, meaning they don't run their own cases. They'll never be assigned a homicide or a sex assault or a forgery or a felony level investigation. They assist other agencies with such things as intelligence collection and information exchange. So the agent that I talked to that had served in this unit for a number of years said that after 9/11, there was this general understanding that there wasn't enough sharing of information from a federal level, but even on a state level. So their primary responsibilities are proactive. They deter, prevent, and detect crime. So most law enforcement tends to be reactive. A crime is committed and then they show up. They're actually very proactive in their function. They are responsible for training local and county and state law enforcement on the use and capabilities of technology. They are subject matter experts in technology. So if you have a jurisdiction that needs assistance let's say they have a number of serial burglaries happening and they feel like a pole camera or a GPS unit would be beneficial to aid in their investigation, they can call upon agents with the Division of Intelligence to help deploy that type of technology. They are also heavily involved in identifying intelligence subjects. So people like terrorists, we do have that in the state of Iowa. And then again, helping the other jurisdictions identify subjects for their investigations. They're also heavily involved in identifying individuals involved in human trafficking. So the Division of Criminal Investigation, this is the unit that I am, the division that I'm assigned to. We have a couple different bureaus within the DCI. One of them is the Field Operations Bureau, and that houses the Major Crimes Unit. These are the individuals that I think we commonly think of when we think of the Division of Criminal Investigation. The individuals that are standing up giving a case briefing to the press or to the media when there's been a high profile homicide or missing person case that has occurred in the state of Iowa. So they assist local and county partners in conducting investigations that maybe there's a conflict of interest on the local level, or they don't maybe have the experience or training to be able to handle that type of casework. The individual that works for the DCI Major Crimes Unit that I talked to the other day said that he's currently working a clemency investigation. So this is an investigation on behalf of the governor's office when a felon has asked for a restoration of citizenship rights. So he wants his firearms rights back, or when they're asking for a full pardon. The DCI conducts investigations for the governor's office on those requests. He's also working a homicide for hire. He assisted the state patrol with a vehicular homicide, the interviews associated with that. He's working a jail death, a suspicious death, a misconduct by a public official, and a child pornography case. So they are quite diverse in the types of cases that they work. We also have the Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force and the Cybercrime Unit. These are agents that are predominantly responsible for child exploitation cases. The agent that I talked to that works for the ICAC unit said that he currently has 36 open child exploitation cases. They also have arguably my favorite employee of the Department of Public Safety. That's Moose down there in the corner. He is a very rambunctious chocolate lab that can detect electronic devices. So anything from a micro SIM card to a computer, he'll help during search warrants identifying those objects. We also have a sex offender registry unit and a Social Security Administration unit. The Social Security Administration are agents that are assigned to help investigate Social Security fraud. And then the sex offender registry unit are agents that ensure registrants are compliant with the requirements of the sex offender registry. The agent that I talked to in the SOR says he usually runs about 15 to 20 cases, things like not abiding by residency requirements, attempting to acquire the means to contact a child, not providing information required by the sex offender registry, and not advising registrants of current living conditions. He, along with one other agent, are deputized by the Marshals Task Force. So they actually are deputized US Marshals. They will assist in federal violations of the sex offender registry and federal warrants. We have a variety of agents through all the different divisions that are assigned to federal task force, whether it's with the Drug Enforcement Administration or local or county task force. I believe we have an agent with the Joint Terrorism Task Force. And then obviously we have a few that are also with the US Marshal's Office. And lastly, we're going to talk about the Special Enforcement Bureau Operations Bureau. This is the bureau that I'm currently assigned to. We're responsible for conducting criminal investigations, providing regulatory support, and we also do a lot of background investigations, ensuring that people that have a stake in gaming in Iowa are ethical companies that have a high level of integrity. Unique to when I started, we're also responsible for sports wagering and fantasy sports contest investigations, which is not something that I had initially done when I started in this job, because these areas were just legalized within the past few years. So my current caseload, I have 2 Class A backgrounds. So these are high-level backgrounds that are like CEOs or COOs or CFOs of companies that whose companies make implements of gaming. So anything from cards and dice to the chips that are used on the table, all of those companies have background investigations conducted on them. I also have a felony theft investigation. I'm dealing with a regulatory issue, lottery fraud. So the Iowa Lottery refers cases to our bureau as well, and we work those for them. I also have a clemency, and then I have, we deal with a lot of money. So I do have a lot of counterfeits that we send off to the Secret Service. When talking about a state agency, the thing that is just really cool, and Joanna kind of touched on this, is we operate statewide. So we have agents assigned in Iowa City, Des Moines, Sioux City, Council Bluffs, Davenport, Dubuque. We really run statewide. So this is a map of the Special Enforcement Operations Bureau locations. But the Major Crimes Unit, the ICAC unit, they all look fairly similar in that you have areas that you're responsible for covering and you're deployable statewide. And lastly, when we talk about more than meets the high, that's a lot of information I just threw at you in a short period of time. But lastly, to speak a little bit about my experience as a woman in law enforcement, I think we all have this public face that we put on. That is the face that got used to advertise this webinar. It's trying to convey a sense of calm, because oftentimes we're called into situations that are very chaotic. But if you saw me on the street and you asked me to tell you about myself, I don't know that being a special agent would be in the top 10 things I would list. I would tell you that I am a daughter and a wife and a mother. I've built a family while I've worked for this department. I've had 3 children. My husband, as you can tell from the photo, is a member of the State Patrol. And I'm a friend. I love to bake. I love to read. And realistically, that picture down kind of in the right-hand corner is a better representation of my life. There's nothing better than a warm cup of coffee and a good book, or in that case, a cookbook on a Saturday morning. So the issues that I face as a working mother and the obstacles that I've had to overcome in this job are not specific, I think, to my career. My friends who are in the medical field or in teaching, we all have the same concerns about balancing work life and motherhood. And Michelle is going to talk a little bit about that here later on. So thank you so much for joining us. It's really exciting to get to meet with all of you guys in this kind of unique way. And we just really appreciate your interest in the Department of Public Safety. I've had an incredibly rewarding career so far. And I look forward to the opportunities the department will continue to give to me for my future. So thank you, Diane. I am done. You can move on to the next block.
Okay, it takes me a couple minutes to get my camera on. All right, thank you so much, Heather. There are so many career opportunities available with the Department of Public Safety. You know, I've worked for the department in a civilian position since 2010, and Heather just told me a lot of stuff that I didn't even know. So there are just a lot of different things that you can do once you become part of the department. All right, women choose to have a career in certain fields for various reasons. I'm wondering what your most important factor that you consider in where you want to work. So I have, again, a poll for you, but we're just kind of curious, and I've launched that poll right now. What is the most important factor for when you decide where you want to work? If you want to go ahead and take a look, is it the wages? Is it job security? Is it the ability to promote? Is it the schedule? Just take a look at those and see. You can only pick one. I kind of set it up for you to just pick one. So your most important factor. I've got just a few more seconds while people are deciding. And just a couple more minutes. I've got a few more people that are getting their choice in. All right, I'm going to go ahead and end the poll and show you what came out to be the #1 factor with everyone. It looks like location is a really big deal. And of course, we as women, nesters, I guess, that is a big deal. And the opportunity to promote, which I think is, to me, kind of a surprising thing, but that is absolutely wonderful. I'm going to stop sharing these results now, and we are going to move on to our next presenter. Our next presenter is Trooper Michelle Beck. Trooper Beck was born and raised on the East Coast. She attended college at Pratt Institute, where she majored in illustration. Trooper Beck is a United States Marine Corps combat veteran, having deployed to Afghanistan in 2012 while on active duty. She joined the Iowa State Patrol in 2014 as a Trooper 1, and a short time later was promoted to a Trooper 2 in the Cedar Falls District 9 office. Michelle? There
Hello,
she
everyone. Just give me just a second to get my PowerPoint pulled up here. All right. Sorry about that. Okay. Hopefully everyone can see and hear me. So I'm going to talk about having a family and being a member of the Department of Public Safety. So my presentation is going to be geared towards anyone who already has a family, who potentially in the future would want to grow a family and have a career in law enforcement. And even if those two things don't apply to you, you might find yourself in that situation later down the road. So I know Diane briefly told you a little bit about me. I am a Marine Corps veteran. I am from the East Coast. I met my husband, he's from Iowa, and that's how I ended up here. I've been with the department for a little over 6 years, and I started at post 16 as a, they call it a Capitol Complex Trooper, Trooper 1, and I am now a Road Trooper, Trooper 2. And a few of the things I do in the department, I'm a driving instructor, which means I help with in-service and with training the academy recruits. So if you get hired on, you might see me there. I'm a member of the peer support team, which I'll touch on more later, obviously recruiting. I have been an academy drill instructor before, and I currently run the mentor program with another trooper for the state, and I will also touch on that. So, family first. One thing about our department is they really do care about us and our families, and it makes it very easy for us to live the family life and have a career in law enforcement. So I'll touch more on the schedule later, but depending on if you have a spouse and if you need help with your childcare, our schedule is very conducive to making it easy. As far as days off, once you get hired on, you'll accrue time off, and the longer you're on, the more time off you accrue. And I actually have never been denied a day off request, especially if you ask far enough in advance. We do also accrue family sick time. So if someone in your family, like your child, gets sick and you have to care for them, you can use that time as well. There's something called a college savings fund that you can start for your children through the state of Iowa. And that's just a way for you to be able to save money, and it goes straight from your paycheck basically into this account to be able to save money for your child for the future. We also have deferred comp, which is similar to like a 401k in the civilian world. It's just another way to save up for retirement, and the department does match a certain amount. So it's basically like free money that you'd be getting every month, as long as you're contributing a certain amount. We do have great medical benefits. We have single plans and family plans. So if you do have a family, you'll pay a little bit more than if you're single, but we do have, it comes with great benefits, and we do have dental as well. So overall, the department understands the importance of our families, and they help to make family life easy with all of these things that I had just talked about. So with that being said, DPS does become your second family. Now, I was in the military before, and the camaraderie that I had in the military with my brothers and sisters there it's seamless to DPS. We all care very much about each other. It starts from day one with orientation for the academy and family day. We have your family come in. We list all the expectations for you. Nothing's a secret. They get to know everything, and we really count on them to be a support system for you during the academy and forward from there. Also in the academy, you're going through it with however many other individuals that you create this bond with those academy mates that you will have for the rest of your career. So it really is a true brotherhood and sisterhood, and the department fully supports, you know, your family life and your work life as well. So we do have that peer support team. I know Trooper Coolman briefly touched on that, but basically what that is it's a confidential way that if anybody needs help, whether it be something through work, a personal issue, they can call me or anybody on the team 24/7. And I will be there to just talk to them, to refer them the help that they need if they do need help beyond just speaking with me. But we really are there for each other on and off duty. And I firmly believe in that. And it's a great thing, especially in law enforcement, because we do deal with a lot, and there's nothing wrong with asking for help. So that rolls me right into this work-life balance, which is kind of what my presentation is mostly about. But unfortunately, this is something that you're going to have to work out on your own. We do have a really important job. Okay, we handle a lot, we see a lot, we deal with a lot. So it's really important for us to remain tough mentally, emotionally, and physically. Some of those things you can do on your own. You can go to the gym, whether it be go to the gym, go on a hike, you like to be outdoors, you like to just spend time with your family, but you need to make sure as a law enforcement officer that you take your off time to decompress. Some people like to go home and talk about what they did for the day. I do. Other people don't like to talk about it. They like to come home, turn it off. But whatever works for you, you are responsible for finding that balance to make it work between work and family. I already touched on that, but don't be afraid to use the resources available to you or reach out for assistance. I also run the mentor program with another trooper, a male trooper, and that starts in the academy. And basically what that is we set every recruit in the academy, we match them with a trooper. And basically what it is on the weekends, you can reach out to that mentor, ask them questions. If you have any concerns that you don't want to bring up to the academy staff, you can reach out to them. And we do it female to female. So if you're a female going through the academy, you will have a female mentor, just because there are issues that might be specific to females. And so that's why we do it that way. This bond, I have mentored other female recruits through the academy, and it's going to be a lifelong relationship. I still talk to them and check in on them, and if they need something, they always know that they can call me. So it's a really great program. And then we also have a women's leadership program, which is basically a training that we do every year where all the females for DPS have the opportunity to get together. And it is training, but it's mostly networking and just being able to see those other female faces. So one reason why we're doing this is we need more females. DPS does not have a ton of females. I'm the only female in my post 9, the Cedar Falls district office. And so sometimes I don't see a female for weeks or months. So it's really nice to get together once a year, be able to, like I said, network, talk, meet the other females in the department, and make those relationships. All right, so I'm here to tell you, you can be a trooper and a mom. So here's me in the top right, that's me and my mom. That is the day that I graduated from the DPS Academy and became a trooper. Very proud. Same on the bottom left there. That was also the same day. Top left, that's my daughter when she was born. And I'll go into that here coming up. And then bottom right, that's my family. So my experience being pregnant as an Iowa State Trooper was a little unconventional, and I'll explain that all to you, but it's very doable. So our policy says that if you become pregnant as a trooper, that you can work up until you and your doctor decide that it's no longer safe for you to be on the road. So basically your health and well-being is in your hands when it comes to you being pregnant, which I love, because some people will work even when they're showing. Some people don't want to work once they are showing their belly, which I totally understand. You need to make sure that you and your child are safe. So the department will put you on an alternate duty status once you decide that you don't want to work the road anymore. And what that means is basically you'll get assigned like an office duty. I came up to the post after I went on alternate duty and just helped out with secretarial duties and whatever else my supervisors needed me to do. I was given an unmarked vehicle to drive back and forth from my house to work so that I wouldn't need to stop or assist anyone on the way if that came up. But I didn't have that. So what I did was I was asked to be a drill instructor for the academy. I accepted, and right before the academy started, I found out I was pregnant. So fortunately, everyone let me still do that, and I was able to be a drill instructor, and that's a photo of me there with some of the other drill instructors from the academy that I helped run. And I basically, for 5 months long, I was pregnant and as a drill instructor. Then once my time ended there, I was starting to show pretty good. And then I came to the post 9 office on alternate duty for the last few months and worked right up until I had my daughter, which that's also your choice too, how long you want to work. I worked right up until I had her. That way I could save up all my time off for after I had the baby. Also, there's FMLA. A lot of you have probably heard of that before. It's not specific to the State Patrol, but you are allowed to take up to 12 weeks off after you have a baby. Okay, so operating postpartum, I actually only took 8 weeks off. I was kind of a newer trooper when I had a child, which, and I didn't want to use all of my time, and that's kind of going to be up to you. You can use your sick time if you want. You can take your full 12 weeks. You can use any time that you have saved up for that. But I decided to take 8 weeks, and then I hit the road running when I came back. So it was a little bit different and difficult coming back at first, but you get used to it just like anything else. I did nurse for just about a year, which is very difficult. I'm not going to lie when you have this job, because we are constantly in our car and out on the road. But with that being said, my supervision was totally supportive of me. So I would just carry my pump with me and either come up to the post office. There's a women's bathroom here that I used, or I would just go home the times that I needed to pump. Now, there were times, obviously, I'd get called to something and I needed to go, and you just have to roll with it. But a lot of this job is just adapting and overcoming, and you work it all out. And my goal was to do it for 6 months. I did it for almost 12. So it's totally doable. And as long as you have that support from home as well to go back to work, to help with your new baby and everything, you're good to go. Okay, and that leads me right into the schedule, which I told you earlier I'd touch on. So the way it works, and each post does vary a little bit, but we work a day-night rotation. So some posts work 2 weeks a days, 2 weeks a nights, or a month long. We do have permanent midnight cars. So if that's something you're interested in, that might be available to you as well. We work 5 days on, 3 days off, 9-hour shifts. Now, with that being said, if you're assigned to post 16, which is a Trooper 1 spot, they do things a little bit differently. They actually have a set schedule where you do a shift bid based on seniority, and you work a 5 days, 2 days off, 8-hour shift schedule. That might be better for some people who need certain days off, but just keep in mind that is a shift bid. And there was something else I wanted to touch on the schedule. If it gets back to me, I'll come back to it. We also get holidays. So we do work holidays. Obviously, the law enforcement, there needs to be people out on the road all the time, but we do get compensated for that. So if you work on a holiday, you end up getting time and a half of holiday pay. So if you work a 9-hour shift, you get 14 hours. If it happens to be one of your days off, say on Christmas, then you still get 9 hours holiday. And then as far as the schedule goes, finding the right daycare. So for me, hold on, let me backtrack, because I just remembered my other thought, but on the schedule. So because we work a 5-3 rotating, you do get weekends off. So it's all fair. So you get as many weekends off as a trooper that's been on for 10 or 15 or 20 years, because your schedule rotates like that. So that's one perk, is you're not going to get stuck working all the weekends as a new trooper. You will get your fair share of weekends off. With that being said, finding the right daycare. I am fortunate enough to have found a daycare for my child that only charges me for the days that she's there. So some weeks I'll have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday off, and I will not need to pay for daycare for those 3 days. If I stay home with my daughter, I'll only have to pay for Thursday, Friday, which is awesome. It saves you a ton of money, and you get to spend more time with your kids. So it's amazing. Okay, rolling into self-care. So, you cannot forget about taking care of yourself in this job. It's super important. I know I talked earlier about finding, what it is like working out or reading or spending time with your family that keeps you in the zone, but you need to make sure that you do that. It's super important. Being a full-time trooper and a full-time mom is a lot of work, but everything is worth it. When I come home at the end of the day, know that I kept people safe, made a difference in their life, and then I come home and get to see my daughter's smiling face. There's no greater feeling. I can tell you that right now. So, and my daily goal is to go home to my family after every shift. So as long as you're keeping yourself healthy as a whole and keeping your mind in the game, you will do that. Okay, your family needs you, my family needs me, so I'm going to make sure that that happens. And Mindy will touch on that later. So just a quick little quote here that just basically tells you that I have busted my butt to get where I am today. I love my job. It's absolutely amazing. I'm going to touch quick on, because we did have a question come up, what's the most and least favorite part of our job? For me, the least favorite part, I'd have to say, is the paperwork. Although it's very important, it's one of the most important things about our job. I would rather be out on the road than in the office here doing paperwork. So I would have to say that's my least favorite part. And my most favorite part is just being able to hold people accountable for the things that they do wrong. I feel like sometimes society doesn't like to be held accountable, for the things they do wrong, but it's so important to maintain the peace. That's what we're out here for. Okay. Yes, we like to help people. We like to make a difference. But doing that by holding people accountable, that's how we make all that happen. So that's what I like to do. That's my favorite part. With that being said, you can have a family and have this career. Nothing worth having comes easy. Like I said, I've worked very hard. All the females on our department have worked very hard, and the males. It's not an easy job to have, but super rewarding. And I literally can't imagine myself doing anything else or being anywhere else. This is truly my calling. And I hope that, you know, we can speak to some of you today and answer some questions and help you to get where you need to be as well. Thank you, Diane. I'm going to send it back to you here.
Okay, thank you so much, Michelle. Women are truly amazing. We can do it all. In fact, there's proven benefits that women bring to law enforcement. What are those benefits? Well, of course, I'm going to launch another poll, and I am going to ask you what you think are the most important benefits that women can bring to law enforcement. I've got a few choices there, and take a couple minutes, read those over, see what you think. What benefits do you believe women can bring to law enforcement? And you guys are very smart. All right, they're coming up. I'm just going to take a couple more minutes and let the last few answer what they think. And then I'm going to share these results with you. All right. All right, I'm going to go ahead and end the polling now and show you what everybody thought. And those of you that answered all of the above are correct. You guys get the prize today. Look at this. What benefits do women bring to law enforcement? They possess better communication skills than men. They use a less authoritarian style of policing. They are better at diffusing potentially violent confrontations, and they are better at building cooperation and trust. Those are proven research. I probably didn't get them all, but those are ones that they said are absolutely what women bring to law enforcement. I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing. And we are going to move on. Our next presenter is Lieutenant Mindy Coe. Lieutenant Coe has been with the Iowa State Patrol since 2007. She was promoted to lieutenant in October of 2020, this year, and assigned as district commander in Post 5, which is located in Cherokee. Prior to that, Lieutenant Coe worked as a trooper and a sergeant in Post 8 out of the Mason City District. Lieutenant Coe is a United States Navy veteran and holds a master's degree in criminal justice from the American Military University. Mindy?
All right, thanks, Diane. Let me get my PowerPoint pulled up here. Maybe. All right, there we go. Okay, everyone, welcome. Thanks for tuning in today. It's great to see so many people tuning in. I'm hoping you're getting some good information and answering some questions that you might have had about this career field. In this next segment, we're going to talk about something that we get asked quite often from women who are considering law enforcement positions or just thinking about the law enforcement career. And that has to do with the physical challenge and the physical demands of law enforcement and whether or not they have the skills and the capability to take those on. So we're going to talk about that in this next segment. Just a little bit about myself. First of all, like Diane said, I am the lieutenant here in District 5, which is in Cherokee. We cover 6 counties here in Northwest Iowa. And before that, I was a trooper and a sergeant in Post 8. That would be out of Mason City in the north central part of the state. So I've been a trooper for 13 years now. As she said, prior to joining the department, I was with the U.S. Navy for 5 years. I did military police work with them. I did a little bit of everything as far as the military police aspect. I did training division, I did criminal investigations, I did base police patrol and harbor security. So I had a good opportunity there to learn a lot about the law enforcement field. And as the photo there suggests, outside of the office, I also participate in some other activities. And I do have a 2nd degree black belt in combat Hapkido. All right, so let's get rolling here. When people think about the law enforcement field and the challenges that they might encounter, especially when women are thinking about this, their main concern is the physical demands and the physical challenges. They're envisioning the foot pursuits, they're envisioning fighting with combative subjects. And those scenarios do occur, and it is important for you to be prepared and have the skills to handle those. How often those situations actually occur, however, is kind of going to depend on where you end up working. So if you end up in the State Patrol Division working the road, you're going to have those encounters more often than you would if you're a non-uniform, excuse me. And if you are working in more of a metro or an urban area, then those situations are probably going to occur a little bit more often. So it is important to be prepared for those, to be able to handle yourself in those situations. However, the majority of the challenge of law enforcement is going to come from more of a mental aspect. It's going to be more of a mental, emotional attitude challenge. One of the biggest challenges you're going to face, especially as a DPS officer, because we don't work with partners, is that we are usually working alone. Your backup could be 20 minutes or more away. Supervision is not going to be looking over your shoulder. They might not even be working at that time, depending on your shift and the day that you're working. So your self-reliance, your ability to handle these situations as they arise on your own is paramount, and that is the main challenge of working in a law enforcement career. So I'm going to give you some things to think about as far as you might be wondering, okay, can I handle that? Is the department going to help me learn the skills that I need to handle that? And yes, so we're going to talk about that. The mindset that's required for a law enforcement career is best defined as a mental fortitude. You're bringing calm to chaotic situations. You have to have self-discipline and resilience. Trooper Beck talked a lot about being able to roll with the punches, and that's exactly what law enforcement is. And then the self-discipline, taking ownership of your actions, accountability, and taking control in chaotic situations. I'll talk a little bit about the Academy and how the Academy provides those tools for you and helps prepare you for these challenges. And then I'll talk about some things that you can be thinking about right now, things that you can start now to help prepare you for this career field, and things that you should continue to do after you get hired onto a department, hopefully our department, and continue on with your law enforcement career. So when you're asking yourself, am I tough enough to be a cop? The main building blocks of this mental mindset that we need is going to be emotional IQ, resiliency, and that mental fortitude that I talked about. Being able to roll with things, staying calm in stressful situations, and being the rock. Very close second to that are going to be your physical health and your physical fitness. Those are extremely important in this career field, especially if you're going to have a successful and long career. The challenges of this career do kind of add up. We carry a lot of equipment on us, and so that can be difficult. So those are the two aspects that I'm going to talk about today, the emotional IQ, the mental fortitude, and then the physical health and physical fitness. Now, when I talk about discipline, I'm talking about self-discipline, okay? This is all on you. I'm talking about self-motivation, good time management skills, accountability, both to yourself, to your integrity and your goals, and then also the ability to remain consistent as you approach those goals. And when I talk about resiliency, like Trooper Beck said, it's about rolling with the punches. Resiliency means you are able to move fluidly from one situation to another. You are comfortable, so to speak, outside of your comfort zone. You are able to embrace challenge because we don't live life in easy mode. And law enforcement, definitely, easy mode is not an option in law enforcement. So, and then we also need to be able to accept failure. Resiliency means that you don't quit and give up. If you fail, you take that failure, learn from it, and get better from it. So resiliency is extremely important in this career field. So one of the best examples I can think of that kind of puts a picture to this mental fortitude and this calm in the face of chaos are the 2016 shooting in Dallas. So if you're not familiar with this, this was a fairly large Black Lives Matter protest that was occurring in Dallas. It was a peaceful protest. The police were there in a crowd control sort of management role only. So it was peaceful, but obviously antagonistic as well, because the protesters were there to protest police. And so, you know, it would not have been a fun role to stand there and have the protesters yell and say not nice things about you. In the midst of this peaceful protest, a individual started to open fire on the crowd and the officers with a high-powered rifle. So in the blink of an eye, these officers immediately switched from a passive crowd control element into guardian protector mode. They protected the protesters, they protected themselves, they stayed safe, they protected their coworkers. They immediately located the threat, and eventually they were able to end that threat. And that to me exemplifies the mental fortitude, the resiliency that is needed to be able to go from 0 to 100 in the blink of an eye and remain calm in that chaos. All right, so you're probably sitting there wondering, especially if you are, if you haven't been in law enforcement before, okay, that's great, but obviously I've never been in a position like that in my life. So how do I know if I'm going to be able to handle that? How do I know if I have this resiliency? And the good news is, when you get hired by the department, we will help you form that resiliency. We'll give you the skills and the tools that you need to face these physical and mental challenges. So I'll talk a little bit about that without stealing Kelsey's thunder here. So the main aspect of our academy is preparing you for the stress of a law enforcement career. And we do that by inducing stress. And we induce a lot of stress right from the get-go. You're going to be under a lot of mental stress. There's very intense demands. You're going to be under a very high level of scrutiny. You're expected to behave in an extremely disciplined and professional manner the entire time. And you're somewhat isolated, especially at the beginning, from sources of support that you're used to. And what that means is, we're not going to allow you to phone a friend. You're not going to have access to talking to family or friend members about what you're going through. And we do that for a reason. Like Trooper Beck talked about, you are starting to form your bonds with your DPS family, and we are trying to prepare you for that teamwork, relying on your classmates as you go through the academy. There's also a very high level of physical stress in the academy. Obviously, you're going to have your physical fitness. If you're the intense demands that are placed on you and you don't follow through with those, there's going to be some sort of physical retribution for that. There's a very strict criteria, which I believe we'll talk about as far as the fitness standards go. You're going to be doing this on a lack of sleep. You're going to be tired. You're going to be grumpy. And that's where you need to learn to just be able to keep things in context, stay calm, and roll with the punches. And obviously then there's the physical stress as well, where we're teaching you the physical tools, the defensive tactics that you need for dealing with those physical encounters, the foot pursuits, and the combative subjects. It is a very intense environment in the academy, and that is on purpose. Because if you can handle having a drill instructor in your face screaming at you and putting you in an extremely stressful situation, we're preparing you for real life situations, preparing you for people yelling at you, being in a stressful situation, being able to stay professional, calm, and disciplined when you're in those situations. So throughout the academy, they're going to give you these tools that you need to be able to successfully navigate these challenges. First and foremost, like we talked about before, you need to be a team player. You will not have a long career in law enforcement if you're not a team player. It's not going to be a fun job for you. You're not going to successfully complete the academy unless you can be a team player. So that's a huge key to success there. The mind over the matter is just the rolling with the punches, being able to keep things in context. Okay, I've got somebody yelling at me. This is not life-threatening. I'm going to be okay. And I can just take what they're saying, listen to it, and build on that. With the start small, what I mean with that is just being able to focus on what you can control. There are so many things outside of our locus of control that we can't worry about. And when you start the academy, there's going to be very few things that you can control. So just be able to focus on those, listen to what the drill instructors are telling you to do. You'll successfully complete the academy. I just have to move my window here really quick. And then embracing challenge, like I talked about, understanding that failure is not the end of things. Failure is the beginning. So being able to embrace challenge and realizing that you may experience failure, you just need to learn from that. Okay, so here's some things we talked about, the sort of skills that the department will be able to teach you in the academy. They're going to give you the physical skills, tools that you need for dealing with combative subjects. They're going to give you the tools you need to deal with the mental and physical stress. But what are some things that you can be doing starting today to prepare you for this career? You can stay fit, you can learn to defend yourself, and you can be a lifelong learner. When I talk about staying fit, start now. If you intend to apply for the Department of Public Safety, make sure you are in good shape, because there are physical standards, and that is where we lose the most recruits, or the most applicants, I should say. So find something that motivates you. If it's group classes, get yourself into a CrossFit or an Orange Theory or something like that. Maybe you're motivated by medals. You can run some 5Ks, marathons. If you're motivated by PRs, get yourself in the weight room, start putting some weights on the bar. Just make goals, find something that makes it fun for you, something that motivates for you, and stick to that plan. Keep yourself accountable. If you need a gym buddy to help with accountability, that's great. But in the end, it's up to you to be accountable to those goals. Learn how to defend yourself. The department will teach you some very good tools as far as how to deal with combative subjects, how to deal with the physical challenges of the road. However, that being said, it is a one-size-fits-all for what the department will teach you. So as a 5'4", 130-pound female, I was learning the exact same techniques as a 6'4", 250-pound male. Now, these techniques work. I've used them in the field. They do work. But there are things that you can learn outside of that that can help you utilize your size to your advantage. Okay, so like I said, I have a 2nd degree black belt, and that's in combat Hapkido. There are other martial arts out there that are sort of a reality based, more of a real situation based, and that would be more like your Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, the Hapkido, to some extent judo, boxing. Even if you're already participating in a more traditional martial art field, like taekwondo or karate, you're still going to learn some things that will help you to use your size to your advantage. When you're taking these classes, especially if it's like a mixed martial arts or a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, however, you do have to keep in mind that the things you're learning for the street may not convert to law enforcement. For example, Jiu-Jitsu uses a lot of chokeholds, and that's going to be a no-go in law enforcement. Okay, so just keep that in mind when you're finding something to get into and learn about. But just find a class somewhere close to you and try it. Most studios will allow you to try a class or two for free. So get out there, get outside your comfort zone, and give it a shot. And that rolls right into the last one, which is to never stop learning. Make sure you're a lifelong learner. I don't care if you're reading books, listening to podcasts, doing webinars such as this, doing online classes, anything that you can do to make sure that you're staying on top of things, making sure you're a lifelong learner and that you never stop improving yourself. Okay, so I hope I gave you some things to think out about if you've been asking yourself if you're tough enough to do this job, some things that that you will need, and some things that you can do to help push yourself towards that. If you have any questions, Diane's going to be sharing a website link where you can post more questions aside from what you've put on the webinar already today. So I hope that you share those with us. So thank you very much. I hope you learned something, and back to you, Diane.
Okay, thank you so much, Lieutenant Coe. Speaking of physical fitness and being ready, part of the selection process for a law enforcement officer involves a physical fitness assessment test. Believe it or not, there's many applicants that come to this test, and even though they have all the information that they need to be able to pass it, they fail. So I ask you, what percentage of applicants do you think come to our physical fitness testing and actually fail? I'm going to launch this poll. Just see what you think. I've got a few percentages there. This is my last poll of the day. What percentage of all DPS applicants, when they come to our first testing in the selection process, what percentage of all applicants do not pass the first test? I'm going to wait a couple more minutes as people get their answers in. All right, a couple more seconds. All right, I'm going to go ahead and end this poll and show you the results. It looks like everybody's, well, not everybody, but almost half said 54%, and that would be absolutely horrible, but it is bad enough at 36%. The last few academies we've had, the statistics we've ran, 36%, almost a third of our applicants do not pass the first test. And this is a test, as Mindy and the other gals told you about today, you know what the standards are, you know exactly how many points you need, exactly what the tests are in advance. This is absolutely something that you can pass. So we don't want you to be one of the 36% when you come to test with us. All right, we are working on our last presenter. Our last presenter for this morning is Trooper Kelsey Emmons. Trooper Emmons started her career working as a water patrol officer with the Iowa DNR for 3 summers while she attended college. In 2018, after graduating college with a degree in wildlife and fisheries sciences, she applied with the Department of Public Safety and was hired as a Trooper 1 at District 16, which is Capitol Police in the Capitol Complex here in Des Moines. Trooper Emmons has recently been promoted to a Trooper 2 and will be serving out of the District 1 office here in Des Moines. Kelsey? There she is. Sometimes it takes us a minute to get things ready.
I know, it's kind of a learning curve.
Yeah.
Okay. Like Diane said, my name is Kelsey. Oh, let's see if we can get this to switch. Hold on.
Yep.
Oh, there we go. I started as a seasonal water patrol officer. This picture in the bottom right is from my first summer working. And then in 2018, I started the academy. After I graduated college, it was right after the job was posted for State Patrol. And so I applied and never thought that I would honestly be here. So, and then while I was at the academy, I met my husband, who is in the upper right corner. We moved up here in June, where he started as a deputy for Marshall County. And then so I'll just go over the basics for the academy schedule. Every day that you're there is basically the same routine schedule. You get up, you PT, whatever the workout is for that day, whether it's a run or a CrossFit style workout. And then right after PT every morning, you go to eat breakfast and then you do your class for the day. Whether that be in a classroom setting or like defensive tactics is part of your everyday schedule. So down here in the bottom left corner. And then once you start shooting, that'll be range days will be like your class schedule. And then the upper right hand corner here, this is the very first day where they're getting their foot lockers and going to the barracks. So I just have some basic tips for the academy, things to help you succeed and get through it. The first, and I think this is the biggest one, is start your workouts now, because your physical fitness is something you do every single day in the academy. Every morning you PT, and then sorry, I'm reading my notes. So whenever you start your workouts, make them challenging, push yourself, make yourself physically, mentally stronger, and then be consistent with them. It's easy to start a workout program, do it for a few weeks, then you get bored and drop it and forget about it. So don't slack off. And if it helps, find a workout buddy, find a gym, find a group class, whatever that may be. And don't stick to just like heavy weight workouts. Do CrossFit, make sure you're doing your runs. And then whenever you do your runs, don't just stick to the 1.5 miles. Obviously you need to know where you're at with your 1.5 mile time for testing in to the application process. And then you test it in again to get into the academy. So you have to run that 1.5 miles again. But make sure your runs are 2, 3, 4 miles. Push yourself, see how far you can go, see how far you can get. And then another thing that helps with that, whenever you get up to PT in the morning, it's pretty early mornings. So if you can get into the habit of waking up early, that will help a lot because most of us aren't used to waking up at 5 o'clock in the morning and hitting the ground running. And then this here in the bottom, this is my class, and this was our 9/11 workout. There is stairs behind there that you can't really see, and we ran the flights of stairs just as a memorial for 9/11. And then just know that the academy is going to be challenging mentally, physically. That's the point of it. Like it was said in the last presentation, it's going to be difficult. You're going to be exhausted, but just know that there's a reason for everything, and everything has its purpose, especially when you get on the road. So like one of the first things that you do in the morning before you go to classes is you line up for inspection. So this bottom left corner, everything has to be perfect. Everything has to be the same, has to be uniform. You have to be aware of your stuff and your surroundings and make sure that everything is correct. Your foot lockers will be right here. They have to be set up a certain way to the certain measurement, and then so that actually carries over into the job. Every year we have inspections, and then so you'll see here in the trunk of the car, every single trunk of the car is the exact same. Everything's lined up the exact same way. So just with all that, with all the challenges, don't get frustrated. And then okay, here we go. And then, so with it, just find your motivation to stick with it. You'll hear time and time again that, it's just 18 weeks. It's not that long. Once you graduate, it won't seem like it took that long. And in that moment, you're thinking, no, it's not. This is going to, it's miserable. You're going to be exhausted. But then once you do graduate, and honestly, it didn't take that long. It feels like it doesn't. It feels like it's over. So just try to not get too overwhelmed. So then, like with the pressure, I had just graduated, when we had the protests and stuff last summer, and that was one of those moments where it finally clicked, and it's like, okay, so all the pressure from the drill instructors and all of that, it it finally hit and it was reality. And it's like, okay, there was a method. There's a reason that they did that. And another tip that I have down here is always remember integrity. That's another thing that will help you through the academy. There's going to be like tasks they give you, especially in the beginning, you're going to mess up a lot. You aren't going to do them right. And that's also a method to the process. If you mess up with something, just be honest about it. Odds are they already know what you did wrong. And the consequences for, lying about something small that you accidentally did isn't worth it. And then here in the bottom left, this is one of our classes. So they're just doing scene investigations. You can see the skid marks right there. And then here in the bottom right, so everywhere you go in the academy, you have to march in formation. And so they spent a lot of time working on that. Let me see if I missed anything. And then I am going to hit on post 16. So this is where I started. I've been here for about 2 years now. And our post is different than all the other posts, schedule wise, what our duties are. So we shift bid every 4 months. And so you get to pick based on seniority. You get to pick whether you want a day shift, a night shift, or a midnight shift. And you get to pick your days off. And so we work 5 days on, 2 days off, 8-hour schedules. And this actually helps, especially since you have to be 22 to go on the road. And so if you're under the age of 22, you're automatically coming to post 16. And so being that young, most people don't have any college experience yet, but they want to get the 2-year degree or the 4-year degree. And so having that set schedule and having some flexibility to pick your schedule really helps with going to college, because you can attend classes and do your schoolwork and then you can come to work. And so we actually, a lot of the people in our post right now are doing their classes and then they're coming to work. So that makes it a lot easier too with the online classes that they have right now. It makes it easier for them to get their schoolwork done and then come to work. So just our basic duties at post 16. This bottom right corner, we dispatch for ourselves. We don't run out of post one's dispatch. And so our schedule consists of you're either on the Capitol complex or you're downstairs here in dispatch, which is in the basement of Terrace Hill, which is here on the left. And so our duties basically consist of everything from traffic enforcement to working with the first family, or like the Iowa legislative session just started. And so we provide a lot of security with that. If we have any dignitaries come to the Capitol, or we get to work the state fair too, along with the Trooper Twos. And we get the opportunity to work the Iowa State football games as well. And so a lot of the stuff that the road troopers do, we do get an opportunity to do those as well. And then we did have a question about having a degree. Do you need a degree, college experience? The answer is no, you don't need a degree. And I think Heather hit on the stuff with the special agents. And so those are some exceptions. You still don't need a degree, but you'll need experience. If you do take college classes after you get hired or before you get hired or whatever, I would definitely recommend a few writing composition classes. We do a lot of report writing. And so that will help with all of that. And so I think that's it. I don't know if I talked too quickly, Diane.
Oh, Okay. Let me get my camera back on here. Kelsey, thank you so much. All very good points for everybody to hear. All right, well, we're going to wrap things up for today. I'd like to remind you, in case you don't know, that the Department of Public Safety is going to be opening the application window to hire new peace officers in less than 2 weeks. We're going to open it up on Friday, January 29th. The DPS website link I have here, www.dpscareers.com, is where you're going to want to go to begin that process. I also included this link in a follow-up email that you'll get tomorrow to help you get started. This website has a lot of information on it about the selection process for law enforcement officers, as well as a frequently asked questions section that will answer many, if not all, of the questions you have. Also, in that follow-up email that you'll get tomorrow, I'll have a link to the DPS Women's Leadership and Mentoring webpage that has been launched to provide a way for females interested in a career in law enforcement like yourselves to reach out and interact with women peace officers already working for the department. You can ask any questions or any concerns you may have, so please be sure to check that out. My email address is also included here if you need to contact me about the application and the hiring process for the next DPS Academy, the 45th. Right after this webinar ends, there's going to be a short survey for you to let us know how we did today. This was our first one, so be kind. Anyway, we would really appreciate it if you take a couple moments after this webinar to complete the survey before leaving this morning. Thank you so much for being here. I hope this webinar has been helpful to you. Thank you to all the presenters today that put in their time and expertise. And that's it. Have a great rest of your weekend, and I hope to see you all soon, maybe in this next application process. Until then, see you later. Goodbye.